Hi, so today I'm going to show you how to make your very own water pong / activities table. It's going to be super easy and a really fun way to show your personality and your decorations for a party. So let's get to it.
So, first we're going to need to go over supplies. You're going to need paper, a ruler, measuring tape, and a pencil. You'll also need printer and Pinterest. You'll also need a 3x6 folding table. Any folding table size will work though. You'll also optionally need plywood. I chose to use it, but you don't have to. You can just paint directly on the table if you want. Next, you'll have to choose your base coat. I decided to go with white, but you can also choose black. That's just the color that I chose to go with. Then you'll have to choose your colors for what you're going to paint your table, like color scheme. I chose to go with sunset colors, but you can choose whatever you like. You also need paintbrushes and painter's tape. Alright, now we need to start planning. So now you need to begin planning out your table. So you're going to take your ruler or tape measure and measure a 3x6 rectangle. I already have a stencil from the previous time that I've planned one, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to begin tracing around the rectangle, making sure that I can leave area on the paper, so if I needed to do it again, I can. I made sure to include the halfway points on either edge of the rectangle, so that way I can know where everything generally is laid out when I go to actually place it on the physical table. As long as you have some markings like that, it makes it much easier later on. And I'm also including the triangles for where the cuts will go for the water pong game, but you don't have to include those if you don't want to include it in your own design, but it just made it easier for me and I think it looks really nice and symmetrical. So after I get the basic layout ready, I start drawing the triangles for the placing of my designs. Now in this shot, I didn't include the spacing for between them, but there's an imaginary 1-inch gap between each triangle. You can draw that in if it makes it easier for you. I did in my original design, but just know in your mind that there's a 1-inch gap between all of these, because that's the width of our painter's tape. So now you're going to go to Pinterest and find designs to place on your table. I try to find cohesive ones that'll make an overall color scheme, but again, you can adjust the colors of the designs as you go on. So in this top one, you'll see that I gave up partially the way through because I didn't like how it looked without the triangles. So that's why I decided to do this tutorial with the triangles. I think it's much easier to plan out. But you can see in the middle design, that's the final gist of how I wanted things to come out. And so now we're going to start laying out our pattern onto the table. So now I'm painting the base coat. I just did a time lapse so you didn't have to watch the entire time of me painting this. Make sure you're painting in the same direction with your brush strokes so that it comes out evenly. And after we're done with this, we'll move on to laying out the painter's tape to section off our. So after you do your base coat of paint, it's time to start placing the painter's tape to know where your sections are. I laid out the cups to do my initial sections and then looked at my drawings for everything else after. Next, I'm going to show you a trick for laying your stencils onto your board. I need to shade over the letters first of my printed design. Then we're going to place it down on the board and trace over the letters. And the tracing actually allows the penciling on the back to come off onto the board where you're drawing over. So you'll see in a second once I'm done tracing this that it left behind my design. So now I'm just gonna let you watch a time lapse of me painting, and at the end you'll see the final results of my table. Thanks for watching! And here's the final results. It took several weeks to accomplish this, but I'm glad that it's finally done.